back with another video, right? And I was at work, first day back from vacation, haven't been at the work site for a while, and I watched a couple videos near the end of the job that really messed with my head because it made me realize and think about the state of myself and where we are as a society. I had to really be honest with myself and give myself a talk, and it was about relationships, right? It was about relationships. It was about the state of humanity, humans doing everything right, and coming to realize that's not how things work. You're not gonna get everything right. You're not gonna do everything right. We're imperfect by nature. And I saw some studies online that made me really, well, I saw a video of somebody doing research on studies online that made me think that it is difficult, especially in today's era, for people to find relationships, for people to speak to other partners, for people to be having intercourse, especially men ages 18 to 30. And me coming to understand that, hell, I'm somebody who falls in that category as well too. Really, for surely, have my head fucked up. Have my head fucked up indeed, right? There's this perception going around, right? If you're an average civilian man living in America, especially in some of the most populated cities, for example, that if you don't make a certain amount of money, you don't wear a certain amount, if you don't wear a certain type of clothes, don't have a certain type of brand about you, you're not considered of worth, of value. You're considered lesser on the totem pole or scale. And that never made no fucking sense to me. How you can have your head on straight, your life straight, and you're considered of lesser value. Because isn't that the dream that everybody wants? Doesn't everybody want that life? Where you got that partner there for you and you're for them. You have the kids, you have the marriage, it goes down the way that you want, have the family structure that you need. But for some reason, if you're born into that, you're now of lesser value. So we play these double speak mind games with one another about what we imagine life should be versus how life actually is. And those who come from broken homes, messed up families, messed up cities, drug-filled environments, a lot of criminal activity, those are the people pushed to the top. Those are the people promoted. Those are the people that I found it the most attracted. It's stupid. It's dumb as shit. But it's real. And that hurt. That hurts so very bad. But I had to also come to a realization and not let the bitterness come and take me. I had to come to a realization, understanding that I fall into the category of most people, civilians, right? Most people, okay, most people in America don't really act like this. This ain't really the case, apparently. But why are divorce rates so high? Why are single family households rising? Why are all of these things particularly happening? So it's not like nothing is happening. It's on the increase and rise, especially for kids, or not kids, young adults in my generation. People, Gen X, baby boomers, older, in their 50s or in their 70s, 80s, all the way to their 60s or even 50s. So, and if you're in your 40s, even if you're in your 40s, this really affects you as well too. If you're a millennial, if you're a late Gen X, a millennial, or Gen Z and down, oh, this affects you. This 100% affects you. It is insufferable the amount of multiple family structures, multiple fathers, multiple mothers, broken homes, twice married, 3 times married, 4 times married individuals, or people who are just having children out of wedlock, right? And if you look at the rate of sex, men 18 to 30 having sex, a majority of men have not had sex in years. Some statistic says a majority of men have not had sex in years. Years. And that is beyond alarming, because that is going to mean if the marriage rate is going down and the amount of sex is going down too, that means the birth rate is going down. There's going to be a collapse. People aren't having kids anymore. People aren't getting married anymore. The family structure is cracking under the feet of the new generations. People's really in their 40s and under. It's cracking. There's some people in their 50s and the 60s too that don't have their life together, but it seems like a majority of them escaped before they got to this point. But if you're most definitely in your 30s and under, oh my gosh, man or woman, you're either not in a relationship, you have baby fathers or baby mothers. It's either one or the other. And when it comes to terms, especially speaking on astrology, right, I come to realize that the people who come from broken households, gangsters, mobbers, whatever the case you want to call them, right, people who grew up in the hood, get so much love, attention, and affection, even though they're definitively doing the wrong thing, is because sex sells, right? Scorpio is the 10th house of Aquarius. Humanity is Aquarius. They got Scorpio with sex, power, lust, violence, gang culture. In the 10th house, fame, publicity, spotlight, control. Humans in this age of Aquarius naturally put that stuff at a pedestal for the world to see. Naturally, we do that. And people who naturally have a control of themselves, Capricorn, sit in the 12th house of Aquarius. What is the 12th house? Undual. If you have control over yourself, you've naturally undone yourself. You've done yourself a disservice. Naturally. It's a fucked up current world we live in, right? Because in an age where humanity is in charge, in an age where we are not governed by God, Leo, right? If we're not in an age governed by God, but we're in an age governed by human, and man is allowed to do as he pleases, you see how degenerate the world becomes. You see how delusional people become, how disconnected people become. Older generations will just tell you, figure it out, just get it working, but they don't know the statistics. Younger generations will be like, it's impossible, it cannot be done, but they don't really try. That's the point where I stand. We live in a current era right now where socialization, dating, is a high demand skill. Simply talking to another person and building a relationship is a high demand skill. Most people don't have the qualifications anymore to do such a thing. Whether you're an air sign or not, most people can't do that anymore. And that is just the truth. It's just the truth. The average person does not want to go above and beyond now to put in extra amount of hours, extra amount of work talking to people just for the potential of them to not want to like them back or reciprocate back to them or form relationships with them. Same way you would go to school for your bachelor's, your master's, spend all of these particular years training for a skill, To get a degree so you can do better in life, you must now do that with your relationships. You must now do that with your partners. You must now do that with your friendships. And this is what most people are not willing to do. If you're a civilian, the average civilian is not going out every day with a goal. Let me talk to 10 people, 20 people, 30 people a day. The average civilian doesn't have a goal like that. The average civilian wants to live in a world or society where the people around them are just easy to talk to, where things are just easily getting along, where people don't have to worry about other people's opinions. The world's not functioning like that anymore. Pluto is in Aquarius. We're in an age or time of revolution, change, an unraveling of society and birth of something new. And people also got to realize too, the planet Uranus, is going into Gemini. What does that mean? Every time that Uranus or Uranus goes into Gemini, this country is at war. It happened during the American Revolution. It happened during the Civil War. It happened during the First World War. And it was kind of there within the Second World War as well too. Uranus is going to enter into Gemini in around 2027. So all this talk of war we have here right now is going to pop off and is going to hit America as well too. We're going to have civil wars and we're going to have world wars all happening at the same time. This is what people got to understand. And the one big war we're still fighting right now too is gender wars. It's all over the media. This woman hates this man. This man ain't shit. This woman is garbage. I'm telling you, people don't have fundamental skills in talking and learning to relate to one anymore. That is now a high value in demand skill that anybody could get. Some people are naturally going to have that over other people. I already stated the reasons and ways how. It tends to favor those who come from poor urban backgrounds, who are more on the scorpionic level of things. They grew up in that background. They grew up in that culture that you can see now on the media, on the TV, on the radio stations, especially in the ethnic community, right? Melanated community, urban community. These are the type of people who get the most interaction, the most social attention. But if you're a civilian like me, who grew up with a stable home, stable family, right? Good parental structure, works a job, and you're lacking in your relationship aspect of your life, guess what? You know what God says? You have to bust your ass to get it. You gotta work and grind to get that. There's no changing it. You're not going to change from a civilian into a person who's not who is a criminal or some person who's in a gang life culture. You're not gonna do that. Same way, if you grew up in a gang life culture, very rare you turn into a civilian. It's possible. It's been done before. But usually people who grow up in that culture, of gang life culture, once they leave it, they don't want to go back. They want to end up becoming civilians. If it was up to them, they would have been born civilians. But living that lifestyle or being born into that lifestyle gave them perks that we regular civilians don't get anymore. They get all the social status and attention, female and male. They get all male eyes, they get all female eyes. This is why infidelity rates, this is why all that stuff is of lust. Lust. We live in an era, we live in an age where lust, people can get away with it. You can get away with being lustful. And even though it can hurt in the moment, redemption, being a better person, you can get better. But if you're born into a life where you already believe you're morally higher than everybody else and you're too afraid to take a risk, you're too afraid to get hurt, you're too afraid to make a connection with the risk that it could fail on you, you're not gonna get anything. You stay stagnant and you can even go to a decline. There are groups in Africa like Boko Haram There are a group of men who cannot afford to buy a wife, so they band together and kidnap women because they can't afford to have a wife. And with the rate of how men in America now are not having sex, not going into committed relationships, we're only a couple years away from a group like that forming here. But again, how do you stop it? If you're a civilian like me, you need to actively set aside time in your day, every single day, or every other day, just like you would to go to the gym if you don't already do that, just like you would to work on that side business if you don't already do that, just like you would to put in those hours to go back to school if you don't already do that. That is something you naturally have to add into your day. Making friends, making connections, actively going out in your community, going to places and forming relationships, getting numbers, talking to people, forming connections, having sex. And it's not going to be easy. This could be a process that takes you a year and a half before you even get anywhere. Because I told you, it's a high value skill. There's no price tag, there is no job affiliation connected to it. The connection that you make is you're now socially available, receptible, and loved, not only by yourself, but other people around you. So you can finally form that committed long-term relationship that you want. It's a skill now. Aquarius, right, has Virgo, which is skills, in the 8th house, which is the house of transformations. If you really want to transform your lifestyle into something that you really want, especially when it comes to your relationships and your connections, guess what? You got to put in the work, Virgo, to build those skills with Virgo, to change your habits, Virgo, to change your life, Virgo. Transform. Change. I hope this message really hit somebody. If you're struggling right now with a single parent household, dealing with unreceptive partners, a divorce, whatever the case may be, you got to put yourself out there again, continuously. It's a skill. If you don't use it, you lose it. No matter what your age is. No matter what your age is. And see how it comes to help you. Does you right. This has been Chris's Ear, Astrology Universe. Catch y'all next time.